Zonja dhe Zotrin, mbrëmje. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm truly blessed and honored to be here tonight, and it's all because of you. So I do want to take a couple minutes and just say thank you to everyone for being here tonight. There's a lot of people and a lot of things that go in the background to make sure that something gets executed and it comes out the way that it does. So I want to first of all make sure that I thank my team, Pan-Albanian Federation Vatra, and the board here, who is with us tonight. So I would like a round of applause for them, please. Thank you. Secondly, I would like to thank my house and most of our house here, Albanian Community Center, Çunat Bostonit, Ardi Bochova, Turi Bochova, and Edi Kume for allowing and giving us a space for us to be able to have this gathering this evening. Thank you. Now, the food that you ate tonight, we didn't pay for it. It was actually donated and worked by hard-working men and women of this community. So I do want to take a moment and thank the owner of Boxford House of Pizza, Nevio Shukeli, who's here with us tonight. He's right there. So if you like the food, say hello to him. If you didn't like it, don't say nothing. Keep it to yourself. But he's always ready for there. The second part was provided by Giovanni's House of Pizza with Albanian owner again, Edison Shahini and family. So I want to make sure I say thank you to him as well. Edison will be joining us shortly. They're all working late, so we know how it is when we're here. We came here to work, so we got to do what we need to do. But I'm truly honored and blessed to be here and be able to talk in front of every one of you and have in the presence of Ambassador William Walker, who we all know, and especially us that have came from Kosovo during the 98-99 events, know firsthand what it is and what he has gone through. So myself and everybody here are truly honored. I actually happened to be the very first refugee that was settled in the state of Massachusetts in 1999, May 7th, through Catholic Charities, together with 450 others, and total of 14,500 that came to the United States. So I know firsthand what it is. And when Ambassador talks and he's explaining and going through the things that he's seen and experienced, I go back in that time where I was 15, 16, 17 years old, and we were fighting to survive. Right? We were fighting. We didn't know if tomorrow will come. We'll be opening our eyes the next morning or not. So it's truly humbled, and I'm truly blessed to be a part in the middle of all of you and be able to enjoy this gathering and just be able to talk and see everyone talking, smiling. And here we are in the presence of some greatness, a greatness that has done a lot for our people. Lastly, I do want to thank the people that we cooperate and we do events left and right, and we try to promote, which is the main mission when it comes down to Vatra and what we do. Faton Limani and Albanian Student Association and Harvard University for always being there for us. Appreciate it. And I also want to take a moment and thank a lot of people that you are here. I'm not going to go name by name. We'll be here for the next 2 hours, and I know Ambassador will be like, "Would you shut up?" But I do want to make sure that you understand how appreciative we are of what you've done. The time that you have allowed, you left your family aside to be here with us, or you could have been anywhere else, and then supporting us with these events, whether it was this morning in Harvard, this afternoon at Noli Church, St. George Church, or here tonight, that takes time. But there's an old saying, you can't do good without leaving or sacrificing something for yourself. So, in Albanian, s'mundesh me bo mirë, po nuk e le veten keq. Kështu që, in the end of that, I'm not going to keep my speech going for too long. I think I've spoken enough for this evening. But what I wanted to do next, and I know Antela is taking notes and saying if Mentor is doing better moderation than me or not, but I think she wins. So we're going to give a round of applause for her again today for an amazing job that she did. I know Yorid is not happy. He used to be the moderator, but now I think I got somebody better. All right, so for the next portion of this evening, I hope you guys enjoyed the food. And again, thank you to everyone that Nebiol and Edison and Çunat who did such an amazing job to make sure that we had this gathering this evening. I'm going to turn over the mic to Ambassador William Walker. He's going to say a few things, and then I would love for you guys, anyone that has any questions, anything that you would like to talk to the Ambassador about, to be able to express, or any questions that you might have, for him to take time and talk to you. Is that okay? Good? All right. Ambassador William Walker.
In the midst of your words of appreciation to everyone who has contributed to this, you didn't mention your grua. I want to thank her for the dessert, which was Very, very, very delicious. Thank you. I know I remind you of a child in a child's chair, but I've got to sit down when I'm going to speak. I want to be able to speak for as long as I want to. I want to then hear questions. I can't tell you how happy I am to be here tonight with you. This is not my first visit to Massachusetts. I've come here twice before, once also to visit Harvard, to pay respects to a very famous Boston politician who died some years ago, a fellow named Joe Moakley. I don't know if you know who Joe Moakley was. He was the chairman of the Rules Committee of the United States Congress. I got to know him when I was ambassador to El Salvador, and I was encountering Rorschach-type massacres all the time. And Joe Moakley came down to lend his support to the Salvadoran cause. He died about 8, 9, 10 years ago, and as I say, I was invited to Harvard at a ceremony to commemorate his service. He was replaced in the U.S. Congress by his chief of staff, a young man, he's not young anymore, but a man who continued in the spirit of Joe Moakley. And he's a congressman from Worcester, Massachusetts. Some of you might know him. I understand there's 1 or 2 people here. His name is Jim McGovern. Jim McGovern has been in Congress since his protector, Joe Moakley, passed away. He took the position and represents Worcester in the U.S. Congress. He has risen to become the number 3rd Democrat in the U.S. House of Representatives. I mention this because the second time I came to Massachusetts was to go to Worcester, and I was absolutely astounded to find out that there was a very good-sized community of Albanians in Worcester, Mass. And I went to that second meeting to sort of present Jim McGovern to some of his constituents and some of his constituents to him. That meeting was with the leaders of the Albanian community in Worcester, businessmen, political figures, people who were doing all sorts of things for the Albanian community in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I felt it was very important that they got to know Jim McGovern, because Jim McGovern is the type of politician who, if he's on your side, he will do anything in the Congress where he has a lot of power to help people of the Salvadoran cause, and I hope someday to get him to really understand the Albanian cause. Which brings me to say what I wanted to say tonight. I have spent the last 27 years of my life since I left Kosovo mostly doing 2 things. One, going to the Rorschach ceremony every January 15th, or going over in June, which the weather is much nicer, and I can talk to the politicians and find out what's going on in terms of the development of Kosovo as a modern state in the middle of the Balkans. The other thing I have devoted the last 27 years of my life to is getting to know the diasporas of Kosovars, not just in the United States, but in Italy, in Switzerland, in the UK, and here in the United States, Chicago, Detroit, you name it. Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, all sorts of places. Tampa, Florida. There are Albanians. I am always amazed by where I find Albanians, especially Kosovars who came here as refugees and opened a pizzeria in the middle of Texas. I've had so many events in which I've gone to places that I didn't expect to find a person who understood a word of Albanian or who even knew where Kosovo was. And they're living in the middle of the center of Texas, which is about as far as you can come from civilization as I know. And there's an Albanian with a restaurant and spreading the word about what Albanians can do for this country or for themselves. So I come here tonight. I meet what I am told are leaders of the Albanian community here in and around Boston, Massachusetts. I am very pleased to be here. I've had a couple of very good meetings today, thanks to, well, I didn't get a chance to thank you. He met me at the airport last night, and he has treated me so well and has organized so many things in my favor. I appreciate that. I want to introduce three other people. Two of them are described as Walker's team in Washington, D.C. One is Sabi Gashi, right over here. Where is Luli? Luli he's the quiet one, back here, Luli. These are they drove up from Washington yesterday. They brought all the books that you were kind enough to ask for me to sign. And then I want to introduce my grua, my wife. Nellie is from El Salvador. We've been married a fairly short time. We're almost newlyweds. The important thing in my life for the past 3 years, Nellie. So, okay, let me talk a little bit about Kosovo. What do I think about Kosovo since 2000? Since 2008 especially, with independence. I was in Pristina the day they signed the Declaration of Independence. I was so proud to be there. I was so overjoyed to see the people of Kosovo celebrating independence after so many years, so many decades, so many centuries of not being treated as first-class citizens by the masters in Belgrade. That day, that night was incredible. Everyone was in the streets, everyone was celebrating, everyone was smiling. And what I most appreciate of my knowledge of Kosovar Albanians over the past 27 years is that before the year 1999, I very seldom saw Kosovars really smiling, really being entirely happy with their lives. Since 2000, especially since 2008, I go every place and they're smiling, they're living normal lives, their kids are happy. It's a totally, totally, totally different situation, which I don't have to tell anyone here in the room over the age of 27. Your kids, the next generations that are coming, terribly important, both for Kosovo, for the Albanian cause, but also for the United States, those who were born or live here. So I am so appreciative that you have gatherings like this. Most often you bring your kids, which I like. Most often all your kids speak Albanian. Most often because they're happy kids living a normal life that people around the world who enjoy true freedom live. So I'm delighted to be here tonight. I do want to go back to my reference to Jim McGovern. I came here in 2010 or something like that to Worcester just to have dinner with, I thought there were only a few Albanians in Worcester. I told Jim, he knew there were a few. I'm told there were thousands now. But I got Jim together with the leaders of the Albanian community in Worcester to get to know each other so that Jim could learn what I have learned about Kosovars, Albanians. If they become your friends, if they become people that want to help you, they can do a lot to help you. And I wanted to be there and tell the Kosovars that I met, and I wanted to tell Jim McGovern, these are your constituents. They could be a very important part of your time in office, okay? And I wanted to tell them, look, I know there's been relationships between the diaspora and numbers of American congressmen. Elliot Engels being the best example, Harry Bajraktari in New York making friendship with him, encouraging him to go to Kosovo, this sort of thing. I have been trying for the last 8, 9, 10 years to get Jim McGovern to go to Kosovo. He's a very busy man, chairman of the Rules Committee when the Democrats were in power. If the Democrats win in November of this year, he will come back into a position of great importance. And he's the type of person, the type of congressman that is very rare to find. If he becomes involved in your cause, he will do everything he can to promote it. So I'm encouraging you, if you are in Worcester or you're any place near Worcester, and you have any chance to reach out to McGovern, tell him you know Walker. He and I are very close friends. Please, please, please do so. And this leads to the point. I consider diasporas incredibly important. I'm sure you do too. You know your importance in terms of economic support to the homelands, whether you're from Kosovo or Albania, Montenegro, wherever. The diasporas were so important during the war in Kosovo. Incredible importance. Without you, a lot of things would not have gone as well as they went. I feel, however, that the diasporas could do more in terms of the politics of the United States as well as what's going on in the home countries. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent. Get involved in what's going on here as a people. Don't worry about political arguments in Kosovo. Don't say, I'm with LDK, you're with PDK, you're with Vet Vendosa, you're with AAK, I admire Ramush, no, I admire... Don't argue within the diaspora over the politics of your homeland. Try to get involved in a positive way in what's going on here. You can be very, very, very important if you are united and you try to promote the best as you see it here in the United States. You all realize we've got problems in the United States, much more than you have in Kosovo, much more than in Albania. And the diaspora, especially of Albanians who, when they come together and try to do something collectively, can do things of great importance. So I will hope you will organize yourselves, stay together as a group, as Albanians, not as Democrats, Republicans, independent, blah, 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 blah. I am so much an admirer of the diasporas. I've already mentioned it to you. Whenever I meet an Albanian here in the States, I always say, do you have children? Are you teaching your children Albanian? And 99% of the people I meet say, yes, of course. And I meet little kids this age, and they get up and they sing a song in Albanian, they talk in Albanian, they are truly part of the Albanian cause around the world. And it's so important. Latinos, my wife is a Latina, they don't push their kids to learn Spanish. It's a little different, but you organize schools for our kids in Albanian to make sure they understand something about the past. If you don't give them that, they're not going to have any idea as to why you came to the United States, why you are proud to be an American of Albanian descent. It really is important that your kids grow up knowing what Kosovo, what Albania, Montenegro, what the communities of those countries that are Albanian represent. And what do you represent? Let me tell you the story, not the story. As I say, I was in Kosovo when the Declaration of Independence was written in the parliament. I was there in the balcony. I saw what effect that had on the people of Kosovo. People ask me, what's going on in Kosovo? We hear there's still violence. Serbs try to invade every once in a while. Stories about, there's corruption in Kosovo. Your president was sent to The Hague because he's being tried for war crimes. So the news that comes out in the press in the United States and around the world is not generally positive news. It's the negative aspects of things. I go around telling as many audiences as I can, as often as I can, as emphatically that I can, that what has happened in Kosovo since 2008, in my opinion, is a miracle. This population, 95% of the population, come up to 2000, up to the war, up to liberation, they had no experience in running the country. Why? Because they weren't permitted to be in the government. They were denied educational opportunities. They had to go overseas if they wanted advanced education. Life for Kosovar Albanians up until 2000 was, as you all know, brutal and free of responsibility for governing things. So when the independence came and they had to form a government, who became the government? Mostly KLA leaders, leaders of the war effort, great people, but they had no experience in terms of running a country. Over the last 18 years, things have changed so dramatically in Kosovo. I cannot possibly describe to you what I think of as the miracle of Kosovo. In 18 years, the second generation of political leadership is coming in, the Vet Vendosia types, the young leaders of LDK, PDK, AAK, young generation of people, men and women, which is very important. The women of Kosovo have impressed me more than anything. Before the war, the women of Kosovo sat in the back of the room, stayed quiet, didn't do much other than make traditional meals. That has all changed. The university that I am associated with, the American University in Kosovo, over 50% of the applicants that come in are now women. The leaders in terms of scholastic abilities are now women. And they're going into positions in the government. They're going overseas to get advanced degrees. The women of Kosovo are a miracle as far as I'm concerned, as is Kosovo. In 18 years, Kosovar Albanians, once given the chance to show what they could do and how they would do it, have, in my opinion, performed miracles. I don't know of any other country in the world that in such a short time has gone from 0 to 100 as Kosovo is. And when I say 100, I mean that Kosovo, in my opinion, and I think anyone can be shown this by facts, that Kosovo is the most democratic, the most progressive country in all of Europe, if not the world. Democracy is alive and well in Kosovo. The negative stories, is there corruption? Of course there's corruption. There's corruption every place I know in the world, especially in Washington, D.C. right now. So we should not be telling anyone, oh, you're corrupt, we can't. Kosovo is not a member of the United Nations. Kosovo is not a member of EU yet. I don't understand that. The United Nations formed to promote all sorts of good things, including democracy, looks at Kosovo and says, oh, well, you don't treat your minorities correctly. You don't do this, you don't do that. Kosovo does everything to a perfect degree of democracy. And yet, because of some countries that have minority problems of their own, have more corruption than most other places, still will not permit Kosovo to become a member of the United Nations. And then you've got the trial in The Hague, an injustice that I cannot explain, that an international, especially a European court, with judges who are supposed to be very learned, with prosecutors who are supposed to be very fair, looking for justice, have produced a trial after 10 years of investigation, 4 years of keeping those people in detention. They are just now going to maybe come out with a verdict shortly. Well, it better be a damn good verdict of innocence. They have not been proven guilty of anything, and yet they've been held in detention for 4 years. There's something very unjust about that. So I am just saying to you as Albanians, hopefully most of you from Kosovo, you should be extremely proud of what your parents, your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, and you yourselves have done to create this beautiful little country, brand new, 18 years of experience, but is a perfect model of democracy in the middle of the Balkans, a place not known for democracy, but also a model in Europe. You are more democratic than Spain. You are more good for the people than Hungary. Countries that won't recognize Kosovo for stupid reasons don't understand that Kosovo is far ahead of them in terms of democracy. So I just wanted to say that. I want to say the importance of the diaspora, which you are all part of. My advice to get to know Jim McGovern, among others, but as many congressmen as you can, Republicans, Democrats, whatever, not to just contribute to their fundraising, but to do things to show them what Kosovo, what the Albanian cause means, and then help them get reelected if you think they're doing the right thing, be it Democrat, Republican, or whatever, because the diaspora, united in terms of pushing the cause, the spirit of Albanianism, if there is such a word, you could really make things better for yourselves and for the United States and for your homelands. So please do as much of that as you can. I meet someone who's at a television program in Albanian. I don't know how he can convert some of these images that we have around the room here right now to tell the American public what Kosovo stands for, what the Albanian cause is, and how just it is. With that, I open things up to questions. I really appreciate being here tonight. I appreciate the warmth of this. Everybody, as my wife will tell you, I arrived yesterday in Boston, disgusted with flying these days, going through airports these days, seeing ICE representatives around the airport. The flight was short, but we got here, I was tired, I always am, I'm an old man. But what I wanted to emphasize is, and I got up this morning, there was a fire in the hotel last night. This big Marriott was evacuated. I slept through it. My wife went downstairs and obeyed the evacuation orders. But it wasn't a good welcome to Boston. But as soon as I got together this morning with the group that we met, as soon as we had the noon meeting, anytime I get together with Albanians, I just feel completely relaxed. I feel like I'm back a mere 60 or something like that. And I just enjoy being with you. So thank you very much for inviting us. It's been great. Thank you.
Any questions to the ambassador? Anything you're going to ask? Any question that you would like or thing that you want to know more
Given
about?
the historic role, your historic role during Kosovo's war, what gives you the most hope today? And what concerns you most about Kosovo's future?
What gives me the greatest pride today is just what Kosovo has become in a mere 18 years. And it wasn't from help from the United States or help from the EU that contributed to that early generation of leaders learning something about how you do things as a country. I think that advice had some problems. I think they put together a constitution that has created some problems in terms of votation. But I'm proudest of knowing the people of Kosovo, the Albanians, not just up there, but for other parts of the world, who have shown what Albanians will do if given the chance. In terms of my prognostication for what might come, I'm worried. I'm really worried. I truly believe that Albanians in general, the American Albanian diaspora in particular, put too much faith in the connection with the United States. That, you are certainly the best friends of the United States, but does the United States reciprocate that? All Albanians around the world know what the United States is. Today I'm a little embarrassed by that, but not many Americans know much about Kosovo, and that's where I think the diaspora could do more. I think that's where the embassy could do more if given the resources. I'm obviously worried about the present situation, the situation in Ukraine, Russia's attempts to extend its quote-unquote empire once again, Mr. Putin, and the fact that in Belgrade you still have Vučić and you still have people with close ties to Moscow. If the Ukraine were to go badly for the Ukrainians, and Putin was able to show some sort of victory there, with some of the rhetoric that has come out of the American government, with President Trump's special, unexplainable relationship with Putin, if Serbia were decided to do something stupid, would America jump in as expected by Albanians, but which might not be there in reality today? My generation in the State Department understood the problems in the Balkans. Those who worked in the State Department and the CIA have gone, either from age, retirement, or leaving the State Department in recent years, or being pushed out of the State Department in recent years. I don't think you have very much experience in the State Department, in the CIA, as you did 25 years ago when I was involved. The people who are now working on most of our events in the State Department are mostly junior officers, not the leadership of the State Department. Those who had experience in the Balkans or in wars are gone. So I'm very preoccupied with that situation. And if Serbia, for some stupid reason, decides that they have a green light from Moscow to do something stupid, I just hope the world would react as they did in 2000. Long answer to your question, I'm sorry.
Anybody?
Thank you for getting the book. As I say in it, I appreciate your interest in Ratchak, in my role in Ratchak, and what it has meant to this beautiful new country in the heart of the Balkans, in the heart of Europe, in the heart of the world, that is doing such a beautiful job with creating a really modern country in the middle of what used to be described as the underbelly of Europe, the violence-prone Balkans, where no one agreed with anything peaceful. And Kosovo has proven that's completely false. So thank you very much for having me here. Thank you.
I am so honored to be with you today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
This book reminds me of Ratchak, 1999, January. And it was so pleasure to have you here in Boston.
Well, obviously, it was my pleasure as well. When I get together with groups of people who know what Ratchak was, who know of my feelings for the Albanian community and their feelings for me, I'm always a happy man.
I was so happy when you saw the blue jacket with me in 2002.
Well, it's in a museum now in Pristina, my blue jacket. I'm very proud of that blue jacket.
What kind of hope do you have for Kosovo now?
I've got great hope. You know, I've got a few worries. I've got worries about the United States. But my hope for Kosovo, especially based on what they've done in the last 18 years, I'm a big optimist. It's going beautifully. The young people are happy. The young people are getting educated well. The young people are, living the life of young people all around the world. So my hope for Kosovo is enormous. I still have some worries, but that's got to do mostly with the politics of the United States, the politics of Europe, the politics of Russia. Kosovo is a small country, but in my opinion, it is a perfect little model of what it should be.
I don't have a question to ask you more
Okay.
because you said everything, whatever you're supposed to be saying.
Oh, I'm
One
not
thing-
supposed to be saying anything. I'm just
You said the
telling the
bestest-
truth.
Yeah, you told the truth. So one thing I'm going to say, may God save you. May God, we have you for more years to see this people how good it's going to go in the future.
Thank you very much. Faleminderit shumë.
And then to me, this book today, it means me a lot.
Well, it meant a lot to me to write it. I hope it's readable. I hope a few of the copies of the book are read and people understand, especially young people, get a flavor of what Kosovo was like before independence, before liberation.
In Albanian, I'm going to say, të ruajt I madhi Zot. May God save you forever.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Zoti Faton, është kënaqësia ime që jam pranë teje në 1, në 2. Si të dok biseda e William Bukurit, ambasadorit?
Fantastike. Ai foli për disa pika shumë të rëndësishme, përveç asaj që foli për kontributin e tij që e dim gjithë ne, shqiptarët. Ai është një mik I madh I shqiptarëve, si themi ne, na u ka gjetë në kohën më të vështirë, kur kishim nevojë që bota ta dinte se çfarë po ndodh në Kosovë në kohën më të vështirë, edhe ai e ngriti zërin dhe e tregoi të vërtetën, dhe pastaj bota demokratike reagoi ashtu si reagoi, dhe pastaj e dim se si rrjedhëm historia e gjitha. Mirë, po ai foli edhe për disa pika shumë të rëndësishme, për shembull për angazhimin e diasporës, që unë pajtohem plotësisht me te, është koha tani, ashtu siç tha edhe ai, është koha tani që gjeneratat e reja në diasporë të kyçemi në çdo nivel këtu në ku jetojmë në Amerikë, të kalojmë në nivel tjetër të bërit edhe biznes, edhe politik, edhe në aspektet tjera të jetës këtu në Amerikë. Gjithashtu ai foli për një aspekt shumë mirë edhe për arritjet e Kosovës, të cilat për një kohë të shkurtër 18 vjet I ka parë ai vetë duke vizitu Kosovën shpesh dhe duke I përcjell ngjarjet, dhe ishte me të vërtetë kënaqësi dhe privilegj që kishim sot këtu mes nesh.
Atëherë për publikun dua të them se edhe ju jeni një ambasador I madh I shqiptarisë këtu në Boston, ku jeni në Harvard. Çdo personalitet që vjen është nga mikpritja juaj. Sa është e lodhshme, sa është e zorshme për ty?
As pak. Unë e bëj me shumë dëshirë, me shumë vullnet, unë e kam mision personal që të sjell sa më shumë jetë shqiptare këtu në Harvard, në Boston, që të promovoj sa më shumë shqiptarët në çdo aspekt. Aktivist, artist, gjitha fusha. Dhe e bëj me shumë kënaqësi. E kam kështu mision. Unë e kam si mision personal kudo që jam, përveç punës që e kam kështu si punë aty ku e bëj, e kam edhe mision që çfarë mund bëj aty për kombin. Edhe e bëj me shumë kënaqësi, edhe mrena mundësive të mia. Edhe kështu secili e them këtë shpesh, secili sipas mundësive të veta, pastaj e përgjithshmja bëhet e mirë, bëhet e madhe.
Për fund do të them të paqshim gjithmonë, edhe është kënaqësi dhe krenari për shqiptarinë tonë që ti çka ofron.
Faleminderit edhe ju gjithashtu, Noli TV edhe ty që gjithmonë vjeni e na I përcjellni aktivitetet e mira të komunitetit e I shpërndani sa më shumë, I amplifikoni sa më shumë aktivitetet tona. Ju falenderoj shumë edhe ju uroj shumë sukses.
Kam derin edhe kënaqësinë që jam pranë sekretarit të Vatrës në Boston, në seljen e Bostonit. Si ju duk kjo mikpritja e William Bukurit, ambasadorit?
Në fakt ne si Vatër kishim ca kohë që po merreshim me organizim. E dëshira dhe ajo ishte jona që të sjellim në Boston për shkak të kontributit jashtëzakonshëm që ka dhënë për çështjen shqiptarisë, sidomos për çështjen e Kosovës. Dhe me të drejtën ishte pak e vështirë për faktin e moshës, por duke qenë që edhe ishte u tregu shumë I gatshëm, pranoi në një farë mënyrë që të vinte, pastaj organizimi këtu duke I falenderuar mentorin që ka bërë një punë jashtëzakonshme vetë bashkë me Fatonin, me Rafaelën të kisha e Nolit, dhe u arrit të bëhet ky organizim, I cili mendoj unë që është historik në llojin e si tij për shkak se nuk ka ndodhur një herë tjetër që një ambasadori Walker të vinte të takonte komunitetin shqiptar, edhe pse I cili është për shumë vite në Boston. Ndoshta rrethonat, mundësit, nuk e di cilat kanë qenë arsye që s'ka ardhur më herët apo nuk I kanë ftuar më herët. por që edhe ai vetë ishte i kënaqur me prezencën e tij. Edhe për ne si Vatër ishte një gjë e bukur për shkak se shumica e njerëzve, sidomos gjenerata e re, nuk e kanë idenë, po themi se çfarë ka ndodhur, përveç shtetasve që vinë nga Kosova, sepse të Shqipërisë pak është e vështirë që ta kuptojnë se çfarë ka ndodhur, cili është emocioni asaj kohe për cilën diskutojnë. Për mua ishte një emocion i veçantë, them drejtën, për shkak se në kohën e luftës unë kam qenë diku rreth 15 vjeç kur e kam pa në lajmet deklaratat e ambasadorit Walker në lidhje me ato se çfarë kishte ndodhur në Raçak. Pra si fëmijë unë e dinim dhe çfarë kontributi kishte të jashtëzakonshëm për ndryshimin e historisë së luftës në Kosovë dhe ta takosh nga afër, pastaj ishte një emocion i veçantë dhe them drejtën ishte edhe emocionale. Por që fal Zotit, memoria e tij ishte admirueshme. Në një moshë të tillë, 91 vjeç, të dinte datat, oraret, orët, takimet, gjithçka është shumë impresionuese. Dhe unë duam ta presim mikun ashtu siç ta ka.
Flamur, unë do të them valof si flamuri, se me të vërtet ju Vatra në Boston jeni ka punoni diçka jashtëmose. Ju përgëzoj për punën e juaj që po e bëni edhe me të vërtet është një kënaqësi ime si pjesëtar i televizit që të vim sa do të shoh disa informacione të bukura të japin popullatës tonë shqiptare këtu që jeton në Shtetet Bashkuara të Amerikës.
Edhe ne faleminderit që ke ardhur, se realisht ne e dim që koha jote edhe kushton dhe do zotim që nge shumë mirë për këtë aktivitetit, unë them që shkoj gjithçka mirë, qoftë edhe me prezencën e njerëzve të në Harvard, që ishte një temë e diskutimit për çështjen e Kosovës, një histori suksesi, siç e tha dhe vetë ambasadori që për një kohë kaq të shkurtër të krijohen gjithë këto institucione dhe të ketë kaq demokraci të lirë si institucional dhe ligjor. Gjithashtu edhe të kisha e Nolit ku ishte prezenca, edhe atje ishte një prezencë e madhe, qoftë edhe shqiptarëve nga Kosova, edhe shqiptarëve nga Shqipëria, të cilët kishin ose emocion të veçantë për takuar dhe për dëgjuar edhe kurreshtje se çfarë ndodhi që u ndryshoi gjithë historia e luftës, se çfarë ndodhte në Kosovë në atë kohë. Realisht ambasadori Walker ka bërë një punë të jashtëzakonshme, sa që në atë kohë ka ndryshuar po themi gjithë rrjedhën e luftës më pas se çfarë ndodhi dhe në kushtet që jemi sot në pavarësinë e Kosovës.
Falenderoj shumë. Kënaqësi është. Me të vërtetë është një kënaqësi e madhe që ta kem edhe kryetarin e Vatrës të Bostonit, i cili është një njeri pa lodhshëm, edhe njeri i suksesshëm. Por një gjë më të bukur sot që ka bër është një mrekulli e madhe, por do ta lëm vetë ai vet.
Mbrëmje Noli, mbrëmje që shikuesve të programit tanë, është një kënaqësi me të pasur sonte. Me të vërtetë ishte një 3 evente që ndodhen mbrana ditës, sot ishte diçka e paparashikueshme, ndonjë ëndër me të cila domosdoshmë është bërë diçka realitet për mua specifikisht. Ne kishim ambasadorin William Walker të re që në bashkëpunim me Albanian Student Association në Harvard, kishim eventin e parë në mëngjes në vazhdën e eventeve për pavarësinë e Kosovës, 13 vjetori pavarësisë së Kosovës. Pastaj vazhduam në St. George, Shën Gjergji ose kisha Noli siç nihet, me eventin me Noli Cultural Center. Aty ishte një event tjetër masiv ku ishte pranit madhe të shqiptarëve nga gjitha visat e tyre shqiptare. Dhe përfunduam ditën me një event dark, falënderimi dhe mirënjohje për ambasadorin William Walker dhe për gjithë ato që ka bërë ai për popullin shqiptar, sidomos për popullin e shtypur të Kosovës dhe deri në vitet 99 edhe më tutje, që vazhdon të flas, të ngrej zërin dhe të flas për shqiptarët në Kosovë dhe që ajo të vazhdon Kosova përpara dhe të arrijë suksesin që e meriton.
Cili është ai sekreti juaj që bëhen këto organizimet edhe vetëm në fund marrin vesh që vjen filani, erdh filani, shkoj filani?
Që misioni me rëndësi që është që ne të punojmë me ato që kemi mundemi dhe si mundemi dhe të kemi synim, qëllim dhe dëshirën për të bërë mirë. Pastaj fuqia, koha, gjitha bën, por në fundit fjala u popullore thotë mund të bësh mirë, po se le veten keq. Kështu që mendoj që duke nisur nga ajo, duke pasur misionin e qartë që ne duhet të bëjmë për popullin tonë, për të ardhmen tonë, që janë fëmijët tonë, nipërit, mbesat e gjithë tjerë, mendoj që ajo na jep motivin dhe dëshirën dhe mundësinë që ne të bëjmë gjithçka që është e mundur, që të organizojmë evente sa më shumë, jo vetëm për komunitetin, jo vetëm për ata që janë punojnë dhe janë pjesë e komunitetit këtu dhe punojnë diasporë dhe punojnë për Kosovën dhe shqiptarët kudo që janë, por edhe për ata që do t'i lëmë pas ku ne nuk të jemi më.
Atëherë, lidhja juaj me Çunat e Bostonit, Sot kemi pas një ushqim shumë të mirë, të freskët edhe një ushqim shumë interesant. Kështu që kush janë ata donatorë që sot kanë dhënë?
Faleminderit për pyetjen që e bërë, për arsye se shumë shkon për të bërë dhe për të arritur gjithë këto gjëra që bëhen. Në sonte ne kishim donatorët nga Box for House of Pizza, me ne vlon shkelin, pronar shqiptar, që bën shumë për komunitetin shqiptar. Njëherë Giovanni's House of Pizza, që është pronar shqiptar me Edison Shahinin, dhe pjesa tjetër ishte bërë me ushqime domethënë nga familjet tona, të cilët do bëhen dhe sot këtu. Njëherë ky lokal ku jemi këtu sot është Albania Community Center, Çunat e Boston, me pronar Endri Kumen, Ardit Boqova dhe Turi Boqova, të cilët bashkë me ekipin e tyre na japin gjithmonë mundësi në ambientin që ne mund të realizojmë eventet dhe për komunitetin shqiptar dhe për çdo gjë domethënë që na nevojitet në rastin tonë.
Atëherë për fund duhet të falenderoj shumë se me të vërtet gjithmonë që bëhen këto ceremonitë dhe këto angazhimet, këto aktivitetet janë në nivel shumë të lartë dhe të duhet të falenderojmë shumë edhe të jam mirënjohës i madh punën tënde.
Faleminderit ty për arsye se shumë njerëz do të dini për punën tonë, por mos ishte edhe sakrifica dhe koha që ju e merrni. Kështu që unë jam falënderues për ty, që punon si media, si shqiptar kulturor për Federatën Panshqiptare Vatra, që jep këshillat, mundin, kohën tënde të vlefshme për kauzën tonë, për çështje shqiptare ku do të shqiptarët janë. Kështu që ne jemi mirënjohës ty, edhe gjithë atyre që shoqërojnë programin tonë.
Faleminderit. Çunat e Bostonit gjithmonë janë të gatshëm për çdo gjë. A ka gjë më bukur?
Jo, kjo është ka qenë ideja që në fillim që të kishim gjithmonë komunitetin tonë sa më të bashkuar, të ndihmonin sa më shumë shqiptarët, dhe shqiptarët na ndihmojnë ne, edhe ne jemi komplet më të fortë që të mirëpresim tjerët që do vinë më prapa ne.
Si të duk biseda ambasadorit William Walker?
Ishte mbreslënse më shumë për gjërat që ai ka arritur e ka bërë për Kosovën, për thjeshtësinë e tij që kishte në komunikim, edhe për gjithçka. Ishte vërtet një gjë shumë e mirë për ne. Ai për ne na ka nderuar me këtë që ka bërë.
Atëherë do të flasim pak për Çunat e Bostonit. Unë kur kam ardhur para një vitit, ka qenë ndryshe. Tani është gjëru dhe më shumë. Tani po shifet edhe një zë po vjen prej lartit, po mbani edhe koncerte, po bëni gjëra të bukura. Sa është e lodhshme për juve kjo punë?
E lodhshme është, po janë shumë veta që na kanë ndihmuar, na kanë mbështetur, që pa ata nuk do ishim këtu ku jemi. Thjesht ne ishim ajo që i thonë një krisëm. Ne sa e filluam, po janë të shumë çunat e gocat e të gjithë shqiptarë që na kanë mbështetur. Kur erdhi radhën e parë ishte hapur vetëm kati i parë, edhe kati i dytë ishte në rekonstruim. Tani u rregullua dhe u bë për parti, u bë për është sallë goxha e madhe. Shkolla po vazhdon si gjithmonë, çdo të shtunë me mësuese Marieta Caridhën. Jemi goxha mirë me shkollën. Në katin e tretë.
Më duket keni do zyre, po çka i marrni ato zyre?
Po, janë 2 klasat që janë për shkollën shqipe, edhe janë dhe 2 klasat të tjera që janë zyra, ne i themi klasa se ka raste që vjen ndonjëherë që bëjnë për gjuhë angleze, por që janë të hapura për çdo shqiptar që mund të vijë të kërkoj si për real estate për çdo.
Atëherë për fund do t'ju them ju prifte mbara, edhe jam shumë falenderues. Ne kemi detyrën që sa të qoftë t'i shfaqim njerëz që punojnë, njerëz të suksesshëm, njerëz që kanë nevojë një mbështetje të madhe. Kur e keni ju një hapësirë të madhe, është një gjë e bukur që e kemi derën të hapur për çdo manifestim, për çdo gjë jemi këtu.
Shqipëria është e para, ne nga mbrapa.
Atëherë do them, ju pashim gjithmonë.
Faleminderit ju. Faleminderit.